Okay. All righty. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining today. My name is Shatandra Lister. I'm a senior transfer advisor in our admissions office. And I'm also joined by a couple members of our online accounting department team. So in just a second, I'll have them introduce themselves, and then we'll kind of go over the basics and guidelines of what you can expect today, and then we will jump right in. So Dr. Gaber, do you want to start?
Well, certainly. My name is Mohammed Gaber. I'm the chair of the accounting department for the last maybe 26 years by now. And I'm looking forward, certainly, to your questions. Okay. Jason?
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Lee. I'm an accounting faculty teaching an online accounting program. I'm teaching intermediate accounting 1 and 2. So, for most of you, you'll be able to see me in the first year here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amelia Lucia. I'm the academic coordinator here at the School of Business in the Dean's office, but I'm actually also the point person. Most importantly, I'm the point person, the student support person for all of the online accounting students. And for some of the students, I'm also their academic advisor.
Thank you all so much for joining today. So just going to give you some overview of what you can expect from us. We are going to do a presentation, which is going to kind of highlight pretty much from the start of that application process, all the way through the credit evaluation into advisement, and then kind of continuation in the program. We've got experts in all of those different areas that can kind of give you an idea of what you can expect should you decide to apply and to potentially join us. And then also throughout this entire presentation, we want to leave time for you to ask the questions that you have. So there is a Q&A feature, and there also is a chat box too. So type in any questions that you have. I will continue to answer them throughout. So know that you can do those completely anonymously. We won't call you out. So if that makes you feel more comfortable to get the questions answered that you want, then definitely, keep those coming. I think that for these presentations, it's always so much more helpful when we're kind of specifically answering the questions that you have about the program itself. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So kind of just to give you some fast facts about Plattsburgh, I think it's important to note that with our online accounting program, it is part of our brick and mortar institution. So when a student is graduating from our accounting program, it doesn't have a distinction of online accounting. So know that kind of all of the notoriety or the backing of the brick and mortar institution of Plattsburgh also falls to the students in our online accounting program as well. So we originally founded in 1889. We have about 5,000 students, both undergraduate and graduate. We also have 32 states and 66 countries that are represented in that. You'll definitely find that as we go throughout, the students within our online accounting program really do create a lot of that diversity. Our students are coming from everywhere. They're also coming from so many different backgrounds. We'll definitely talk about that as we go through. So it definitely makes some of that diversity of our community. In terms of our diversity, we have 30% of our students identifying as coming from a diverse background, and a little under 50% of our students identify as being first generation. So in addition to kind of our online accounting program being a part of our brick and mortar institution, it also is housed within our School of Business. So that is an AACSB accredited School of Business. We have 11 different majors and minors. We do have a data analytics master's program, over 1,000 full-time students, 35 plus full-time faculty, and then 5 faculty recipients of the Chancellor's Award for Excellence. So really quality professors that are in our programs, and specifically quality professors that are teaching in that online accounting space to really make sure that you're getting everything that you need out of the courses that you're taking. So ultimately that you're able to go on to that career path and be set up really well for that. In terms of our online accounting program enrollment, we have over, at this point in time, over 200 students that are in the new transfers enrolled in the program. In 2020, we enrolled 58 students in our spring class, 36 students in our summer term, 88 in the fall term, and then we brought in 63 students for the 2021 spring term. So you'll find that you are among many students that are coming into that program, so there's support in that. And in addition to that, there are multiple start terms for students. So depending on if the summer works better for you, or if you're planning to take classes spring and fall, you know, there's definitely flexibility in that, that start, depending on when it's the most convenient for you. We do have some recommended courses, and I say that this is kind of the ideal coursework that a student would have. Keep in mind, this is not required. So these are definitely recommended classes. In order for students to kind of transition well into the program, if a student is not coming in for the summer term, students should have financial and managerial accounting completed, because those are two courses typically that are not offered in an online format for students. So if a student doesn't have those classes, typically we'd encourage a student to come into our fall term or our summer term so that they could take those classes and then kind of continue on with the accounting courses that follow from there. Also, ideally, a student would have business law 1 and 2, macroeconomics and microeconomics, statistics, principles of management and marketing, a business applications or computer apps applications course, and then pre-calculus and or calculus. Again, keep in mind, we know that there are students that have a ton of different kind of academic backgrounds, so we can usually make that work. If you have questions about, based on the coursework that you have, if you would be a good fit, we always encourage you to reach out to our admissions office. We can take a look at the coursework and see if we would recommend additional classes, or if we think that based on the coursework that you have, you'd be able to seamlessly transition into the program. So kind of the first step that a student would make for us, you know, we get a lot of questions about what is kind of the thing that's going to start that process with us. The first thing that I would recommend is submitting that application for admission, because that really lets us know you're ultimately interested. It's going to help us to request the materials that we'll need to be able to give you the best answers to questions that you may have, whether it's financial aid, whether it's registering for classes, whether it is figuring out how your credits will transfer. So students can apply with either the common application or the SUNY application. We don't have a preference for which you submit. I would say that the majority of our transfer students apply with the SUNY application. In addition to that, keep in mind that for a student that is graduating with, if they're in a 2-year associate's degree program right now, if you graduate from that associate's degree program and are planning to immediately enroll into a 4-year bachelor's program, applying with a SUNY application, you do have the option of an application fee waiver form for up to 7 SUNY schools. So definitely keep that as a point of reference for you. When you are applying, we also need transcripts from all colleges that you've attended post-high school. So it's not the most recent, it's not the one that's the most applicable to the program that you're going into. So even if you took 1 semester worth of coursework 10 years ago, we'll need that in addition to potentially your bachelor's degree if you were coming back for a 2nd degree, or your associate's degree program coursework. We will do a cumulative GPA at that point in time. Students need to have a minimum of a 2.3 in order to be eligible for enrollment into the program. And as I kind of briefly mentioned in that earlier slide, students can apply for the spring, the summer, and the fall terms. So students can enroll into all those. Keep in mind, in terms of courses and students being able to take courses, students can actually go pretty much all year round with the program in terms of taking classes, but there's that the spring, summer, and fall are the entry terms that a student can actually apply to on the Common App and the SUNY application. In terms of dates and deadlines, we do operate on rolling admission. So definitely keep that in mind. We don't have a hard deadline. So pretty much we accept students up until the start of the semester. I would encourage, especially since you're looking at this right now, don't wait until that week before classes start to start that process. It can be done, but it's definitely a much more stressful process for you and for us. So, the earlier that you apply, just the sooner that you'll get that information to you, and you'll be able to make good decisions, based on, having a plenty of time to get the things in that you'll need. For students that are interested in the upcoming summer or the fall terms, we do have a preferred deadline of March 1, but don't let that scare you, because we are still accepting applications. So continue to send that stuff into us. For students that are thinking of the spring semester, November 1 is usually a good time to get that application in by, just so that kind of everything kind of gives you plenty of time to get everything in that you'll need. For the fall and the summer, FAFSA is still being accepted, so students can put in their FAFSA at any point in time. Once a student is accepted to Plattsburgh, within about 2 weeks, there's about a 2-week turnaround time for the financial aid package. So you'll be notified by our financial aid office of what you can expect to receive from us, so that you kind of have an idea of, any grants, any scholarships that you could potentially be awarded. So once you get that application in, we have about a 2 to 5 day turnaround time on admissions decisions once the application is complete. Once that happens, you will then be queued up to receive your credit evaluation. So that will typically take place within about a 5-day window after your acceptance is generated. We will take a look at all of the credits that you've taken. We'll take, in terms of coursework that we'll accept. If you're coming from a 2-year institution, we can transfer a maximum of 84 credits. From a 4-year institution, we can transfer a maximum of 84 credits. We also will take advanced level coursework from high school. If you were in the military, we can potentially look at your military transcripts. I definitely point out that advanced credit from high school, we don't need that for the admissions decision, but I always kind of keep that in mind for students, because many times we'll do your whole credit evaluation and then a student will look and be like, I took English, and I ask when they took it. They took it as an AP exam when they were in high school, and we don't have that as a record. So again, not something that you need for that point in that initial process in the admissions decision, but definitely something to think about, especially when you're further into the process and really strongly considering enrolling in the program. I always encourage students, especially if they're kind of trying to figure out courses to take, if you're thinking of a future semester, making sure that you're completing that SUNY general education requirement, especially if you're at like a 2-year SUNY school, is really helpful. It will reduce the number of general education requirements that you're taking. So it allows you to really focus on those business and accounting classes that you'll need. Students that are in the that are transferring in, if you complete that SUNY general education requirement, we will pretty much reduce your general education series where you wouldn't have to take anything, with the exception of our global issues class currently. Alrighty, so once we have done your credit evaluation, once you've been accepted, that next step, once you've paid your admissions deposit, is when the next enrollment steps would come forth. So course advisement and general orientation to the program would start. So I'm going to pass that over to our department, so they can kind of talk about what you can expect from them on that front.
I will ask Amelia to start first with her experience with the most recent, admission in the spring of 2021, and then, certainly we will jump in. Amelia?
Sure. Usually I will reach out to you via email. And we want to figure out whether you're planning to come part-time or full-time, and summer, of course, would be a little bit different. And I love seeing some names on the list of participants. I think some of you, I just sent you an email today. So welcome and congratulations for your acceptance on that. Then the next step would be, we're going to be planning out your courses. So for the first semester that you're here, and at that time or soon after, we can also probably map out your courses. I know everyone wants to know, like, how long is it going to take them to graduate? What's the plan? Especially, it seems accounting majors seem to have that kind of brain. You all want to know exactly, your planners and want to know, and we totally understand that. So, and then my role is to basically help you along the way. Hold your hand if you need it, or any certain questions. You got most of it. You just need a little bit of help, your hand up here and there. That's for me to get you on the right path and on your way.
Let me add to that. Certainly the
Please.
expression advisement will never stop. It's continuous, and for me and my colleagues, I'm sure the same thing. One thing that I would like, certainly, if you can speed up paying the deposit, and for a reason. So many of you are asking how long it's going to take, and once we know from you if you are full-time, part-time. And once your credit evaluation all done and your transfer credit from all other institutions, it is easy for me. I can look at everything and I can give you a mapping from the first day you come to campus until you graduate. I know exactly when each course is offered and what the sequence of courses, and it will be very easy for me. I understand certainly May 1st is the deadline for deposit, but sometimes you receive an email from me and from my colleague Amelia. If you can pay it, ahead of time, and maybe Chandra can jump in, is not something you pay more than what you have to pay. It's going to be part of your tuition. So, but it will help us to ensure that you are really interested and we can help you from there to answer all kinds of questions academically and otherwise.
Yeah, also it's very important to put your deposit earlier because keep in mind that actually before fall semester you have a summer. So for some people, if you need to take some prerequisite courses, actually that will give you one more summer to catch up. So that summertime will be very precious for many of you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely a great point to think of. And know that kind of to point to that, yes, with the admissions deposit, that is coming off of your bill. So with that, it would be your bill for the semester would be $250 less. It's not in addition to the tuition costs that you would have for the semester. And then Jason made a good point in when students are, coming into the program and are thinking fall. And then as you talk to different people in the department, you may realize summer is a better start term for you. We can change your start term too. So know that, just because you apply into the fall doesn't mean that things can't change and your decision can't, be different. And that works at later times too. So if a student is kind of thinking back and forth, I think I want to start in the fall, I'm not positive, and maybe something comes up and it's going to be a better fit for you to start in the spring semester, we can always defer your application later out as well. So once you put in your application, it is good for up to a full academic year out from that initial acceptance. So if you're kind of thinking back and forth, I would encourage you, don't wait and think that you kind of wait until you figure out your circumstances. You can always put that in. And then if time changes, we can adjust that really easily for you. Before we go on to the next slide, I have a couple of questions that students have. So one of them, we have an international student who has a bachelor's in education. You're looking to pursue accounting and wondering in terms of your transcripts, if you can get those from your school or if you would need that from one of the translation services. So if your transcripts are in English, we wouldn't need, and that's for any students, potentially there are other students in the audience as well that may have that. If it's an English transcript, we can use the transcript from your college. If it needs to be translated, going through the WES or going through the GIS, we would need one of those in order for a student to come in with it, but you wouldn't necessarily need to have that transcribed in order for that to come in. We also had another question about an education student, so I'm not positive if this is the same student or if this is different, but good thing to know for all. A student is coming in with an education bachelor's degree and you're trying to figure out what courses that you would have left or completion. It really is going to be dependent on the coursework that you've taken. So for students, we definitely, and that's why we encourage apply early so we can start to take a look at that coursework earlier. And it will all be dependent. So we'll have some students where you may not have all of the business level coursework. If you don't have that, know that it can potentially take you a little longer, or you may have to take some courses in the summer or potentially classes in the winter to kind of offset that if you're looking to graduate, in the time frame that a student that had all of those block classes that we recommended would have. So it really is dependent. I would say that, oh, yep, Dr. Gaber, did you have?
Yes, as you said, my recommendation for the individual who has a degree in education is to be a summer admission. The reason is because it's going to be very easy for you to sign for any courses that you may need. Specifically, the first course in accounting, financial accounting, followed by managerial accounting. And we guarantee everybody that we offer those during the summer. After that, even if you don't have all the common core in the business, we can get you on track for advanced level accounting. You can start intermediate accounting in the fall directly, given that you have already done the first course in accounting, second course, those are foundation that we must have. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Alrighty, so we have another question. And it was with this one, it looks like the student originally was accepted for the spring semester and didn't end up taking classes. Can they still apply for classes? So currently, no, not, and I will explain that. It's not that you can't register for classes. For the spring semester, it's definitely past when a student could register for classes. And since you didn't attend, your application was withdrawn, but you can start classes in the summer or the fall. All we would need is for you to fill out a deferral application. So that can be found right on our website. If you go to the transfer section, in the transfer section of the admissions page, there's a forms section. You'll just go to that deferral application. It doesn't cost you anything. Submit that, and then we'll update your application to either the summer or the fall. If a student were wanting to wait, you could do the spring semester too, but that is what you would use. All right, some more questions. Cool. I always love it when we're getting stuff from the audience. So we have one that is, are there any good minors that can be paired up with the major that could be done fully online?
Certainly, in fact, we are thinking of an additional major. Your first major will be accounting, and we are thinking right now with my colleague, they are willing to offer the additional courses we need, will be business administration. So because you need mainly 2 to 3 additional courses to qualify for the second major in business administration. For the minor, it depends. If you need a minor in finance, that might be available because we have to offer at least 3 finance courses that they are not currently offered online. But we can certainly ask our colleague if they can help us in that.
Thank you. All right, so another question that we have is, the courses that we mentioned are some of those offered in the summer as online courses or just on campus. So many of those classes are offered online, and especially that financial and managerial. So if you don't have those courses and you're thinking you want to enroll, apply for the summer term because you'll need those in order to come in for that fall to be able to be on track within that fall term. So yes, many of those classes are offered online during the summer. Another question is, how would we know if we need additional entrance courses? So with that, you'll know once you get your credit evaluation. So if you do have questions, I would say if you have very few business classes that you've completed prior, reach out to our admissions office. We'll take a look at the coursework that you have to figure out whether the coursework that you have would be a good fit for you to apply into the program, or if we would recommend that you take additional classes. We don't want you to necessarily apply into the program if it's going to take you, a semester or two to get caught up, especially if you're coming in for a semester where we wouldn't have some of the classes that you would need. But definitely reach out to us. I will put the admissions email in the chat. So definitely take a look at that, send us an email with your unofficial transcript, and we can at least take a look and see if you'd be a good fit for enrollment or recommendation of application for the next term. Alrighty. So the next thing that we'll talk about, once a student has gotten registered for classes, now they're wanting to actually start taking those classes that they've been put in an application to do. Jason, can you kind of talk about some like the academics and the curriculum component of the program?
Okay, well, when we design this online program, our philosophy is actually we want to provide all of the opportunities for our learners actually to be able to work on accounting courses with huge flexibility. So all of our courses, they are not synchronous, so they are asynchronous. So that means you can work on your accounting courses at any time you want. If you want to do it during the midnight, it's up to you. So for typical accounting courses, especially the first year in cost accounting and intermediate accounting 1 and 2, our students basically they'll be providing videos and also many tools to learn those accounting concepts. And we provide a lot of we rely on the software to provide students many opportunities to practice over different examples. So for students, to learn accounting is just like playing the video games. So you're learning how to play video games. So you will learn the knowledge, then you will work on assignments, and then you will be repeatedly working on the same concepts and just keep learning something different. So, and my philosophy in my courses is actually I allow my students to have unlimited chances to work on their assignments, and we'll provide you feedbacks immediately. So you don't have to worry about, making mistakes. Actually, I told my students, you have to make mistakes so you will be able to learn. And also I give my students actually 3 chances to work on the quizzes. So my philosophy actually for teaching the courses is to make sure my students will enjoy the learning process. And so you will love this subject, and then you can keep going for a long time, for your lifetime.
Is it possible, Jason, to speak about the way the students, they communicate with you and how you communicate back with the students? Because when we accepted the challenge to have this program, accounting is not easy, it's a difficult topic, and is the only professional degree within the School of Business. And we want to make sure that you get the same advantage and the same knowledge as the on-campus student. That's a mandatory for us. So the accounting faculty who are teaching online, they have several modalities for communication. And certainly the chief of them is Dr. Jason Lee.
Well, let me talk about this. Actually, in recent years, I figured this out. Actually, my interactions with my online students are actually much more frequent than my on-campus students. So my students actually can reach me by different ways. Okay, you can reach me by emails. You can reach me by Skype. So I have my Skype account available for students, and so my student can actually, it's actually very common for me, student, they got a problem in the homework, they just take a snapshot, and then they send me the snapshot and ask me what happened to this question. So then I will reply to their message immediately by looking over, whatever they send to me. So you have a freedom to do a lot of things, but this type of communication, I found that they are very, very useful and also very convenient for all of us. So, I found that actually, I have many students, they like to interact with me, but I also found that some students, they are just shy, or they probably don't need my help. They can handle with it. Actually, the good part is probably because, the materials has been designed well, so they don't need my help specifically. So, but if my students need my help, they have any questions, they can connect with me. Also, my students keep the Skype account with me. So even after graduation, they can still ask me questions. So that's our communications.
Excellent.
That was great. Alrighty. So moving on to kind of and Jason kind of started talking about it, that support, but also very importantly, that preparation for kind of the next step. Can I have some of you talk about kind of what are some of the ways in which that preparation for, many of our students are obviously coming to the degree with that goal of taking the CPA. Kind of what are some of the preparation or the assistance that you work with the students for?
Dr. Gabriel, you want to talk about it?
You
Okay.
wanna-
Yep.
Jason?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let me talk about preparation. Okay, I know many of you, you're thinking about accounting, and you know, for some of you, you probably already have a bachelor degrees, and you have so many things you already done, and then you switch to a new subject, and you're worried about so many things. And for, just want to tell you that you're not alone. Actually, me, I'm standing right in front of you. I changed my majors 3 times in my life. Okay, just want to let you know that, to switch to accounting, the most important thing is make sure that you're interested in the subject. So this is a burning fire that will keep you going along the way for a long time. Okay, so make sure you like the subject, and you're not worried about frustrations. You're not frustrated easily, and just keep going. And accounting, the most important thing is you understand the concept, and then you can repeat using the same concept, and then you keep your interest in going. So preparation, I would say that for you, make sure that you finish your prerequisite courses. I understand that some of you probably finish your accounting courses, especially financial accounting, like 20 years ago. If that's the case for you, actually, I strongly advise you to maybe retake your financial accounting course actually during the summer before you take the intermediate one. So it's kind of like a review, because 20 years is a huge gap out there. So that's my advice for you, if you want to get yourself ready. And another thing important for some students to be successful in a class is time management. Okay, it's for accounting, it's a subject that requires time for students to get immersed, with the materials. So, you cannot just study one day and then finish all the assignments on the same day. Okay, the best way is to spread your time over several days during the week, and then in this way, actually, you will prepare yourself better, and then you work on assignments and learn from those things. So time management is very important for accounting major. Okay, actually for any major, but for accounting is particularly, because accounting 201, intermediate accounting courses, they require a lot of time. Also some other accounting courses too. Dr. Gabriel, you have anything you want to add?
No, this is perfect, and I want the audience to know that even us as accounting faculty, we always certainly revive and try to update our knowledge in the field, because it is a moving field. There are so many things changing, and faculty must be certainly educate themselves, or through webinars like this, to help ourselves, not just, for us, but also when we deliver the information, we would like you to receive the most recent information in the field. There are some courses you cannot use a textbook for 2 years. The income tax, it has to be the same year, and we have to wait until the Congress decide what to do in order for the faculty to give you the information you need. Where the practice comes in, it has to be based on the most recent laws and regulation in that field.
Thank you very much. All good pieces of advice and information. One of the things I think that I will definitely add to this section in terms of kind of support, preparation, we get a lot of students that are very nervous. Potentially the classes that they're taking in that online format, maybe the first online classes that they've ever taken. They may have a bachelor's degree, they may have a master's degree, but potentially these are the first courses that they are taking in that kind of format. Jason, can you give some advice to students who may be really nervous about potentially kind of enrolling into something that is very, unfamiliar to them? Some of the best pieces of advice they can kind of have when kind of getting prepared for this?
Okay, yeah, it's funny that I always receive a lot of emails at the beginning of the semesters. Students email me and saying something like, okay, I've been away from school for 20 years and then I'm back to the program and then what should I do? I'm really nervous about it. Actually we have done a lot of things, in our programs, try to reduce the stress of our students. Okay, first of all, for example, in Accounting 305 and Accounting 301 and 302, actually we allow students to choose the best score and from the first two exams, and we count actually the best score more than the other exam with the worst score. So that means, if you don't do well in the first exam, then actually the first exam result will not impact your final grade too much. Okay, so just want to let you know that we've done something actually to reduce your stress. And also for accounting, the most important thing is, there are many opportunities you will receive the feedback. For example, every week we will give you online homework assignments, online quizzes. So for you, actually, the best way to know whether or not you're on the right track is you make sure that you study in the right way. So for example, somebody just taking the Accounting 301 course, and this person is nervous about what's going on. So then I will send information to the students, and then you just follow, you can watch my video, and after you watch my video, you can follow my guidance to work on your homework assignments. And then you will take the quiz, then you will know whether or not you do well. If you don't do well in the first time, remember you have 3 chances. So actually then, I have a student actually didn't do too well in the first time. So this student actually sent me the email, say, okay, how can I improve it? So I will talk to this person about what's your study habit. Okay, and then, then this person will correct it and do it again for the second chance. So after this person repeat 2 times or 3 times, this person's kind of calibrate, the study habit, and then get back to the track. So if you can do well in one chapter, you can repeat it just for the other chapters. Is all right? So after you repeat that for 4 chapters and you're successful, then you're automatically ready for the test. So for all of you, the most important thing is make sure that you are on the right track every week. Okay, so especially the first 2 weeks, pay attention to your progress. If you feel that you're not doing well, it's time for you to talk to your instructor. So I'll be very happy to monitor you and give you some good advice.
I wanted to add in there as well. That's part of my role as well. In the very beginning, I will be giving you, we talked about orientation, giving you lots of advice of how to navigate the online learning platform and screenshots. And I know many of you are some of you are very tech savvy, and some, again, maybe it's been a while or it's something very new. We're happy to help. And as Jason said, just speak up. We want you to succeed, and we have the resources here to help you. We need to know, and happy to point you in the right direction. If I don't know the answer, I will send you either to Jason, or we have tech help both for SUNY Online or for here at SUNY Plattsburgh, who are wonderful, patient people that can give you step by step and make sure that you're on the right track.
Yes. Also, I have students emailing me something like, okay, I've been too busy because this is the test season, so I'm too busy on my job, or somebody gets sick, and I really cannot handle with the work. So you'll be very surprised that actually I've been so nice. I'm happy to give my students extensions. Some people say that, why are you doing that? Because actually I just want you to be successful. Come on. Yeah, I'm not just like the person giving the grade. I want you to be successful one day out there. So you online students, you have full-time, but you have a lot of things going on there in your world too. So just feel free to speak up. Okay, if you don't tell me, I just don't know. But if you tell me, we are happy to help. Okay, we have very good culture here as a faculty to help our students.
Just as a continuation of what Dr. Lee said, and my colleague Nelia, certainly, we know, and personally, I'm sure Jason also has been there. We have been there. We have family, we have children, and yet we go to school. So we understand, the different things. In addition to, if you're working, and I have know from some of our certainly online accounting majors, very successful in the program. They will be graduating this semester. They're working 2 jobs. In addition to having a family, in addition to be in New York City.
Mhm.
So all those combinations certainly, in fact, it gives them even more motivation to pursue this degree, because I'm hoping it will take them to whatever they are thinking of. The marketing accounting is still vibrant, still very much in need. Once you have that piece, you can do whatever you want within your organization, or maybe if you decide to go outside your organization.
Thank you. All of that was great, and was I think a ton of important information. I would also add into that for students, because a couple students have kind of mentioned different degree paths that they originally started, and I do get quite a few students that potentially their program requirements don't necessarily perfectly align with what the accounting program is. So they may have gotten a master's degree in a completely different area. They may have an associate's degree not related to the business field, and they're nervous about that. I would say know that you're not alone, and that we have seen it all in terms of every different kind of transcript, every different kind of major minor pairing that could possibly happen. All of that can definitely still work with the program. So I don't want students to think, I am not the quote unquote, the perfect candidate for the program. Thus, I'm nervous to apply. I think that many of the students that have those unique experiences, they bring interest, they bring, a unique perspective of just different, of having had different life experiences. And Dr. Gaber kind of mentioned in terms of, having a family, having a career, all of those things are definitely things that we have seen, that we work with. We have some students that move in and out of the program, may come be part-time or full-time one semester to another. So I think that is one of the great parts of the program, that it is so flexible, and based on what it is that you need, you're able to be provided that. If there's a time frame where you need to potentially step away from it and come back, in a future semester, we can make that work as well, to where it's a pretty seamless process for you to stop and then come back once you have completed, the things that may be coming up in your life that you need. So definitely keep that in mind, just because I think that is one of the things that makes the program, I think, so unique, and makes it to where so many students are able to finish the program and be very successful within it. So at this point in time, we have kind of reached the end of the formal presentation, kind of what we have. We'll stay on the line for a couple minutes to see if there are additional questions from the audience that may have come up. Oops, we have one right here. Okay. So the question that we got is Dr. Lee the professor for the entire program for the classes?
Of course not. Yeah, we have a lot of full professors teaching, a variety of courses here. Personally, I have been teaching 3 courses in our program, and we have a school that we really care a lot about teaching. So we want to make sure our students are learning well. So we are very coordinated. Yeah, and we make sure that our quality are consistent across different courses.
Yeah, for accounting courses, certainly everybody, among the faculty have certain specialization. So we have 5 full-time committed accounting faculty, and we added the business law too. Certainly one of our colleagues who joined us, he has a Harvard degree, and he was happy to join us in the online accounting program. And for the first time, he's teaching, that course to our certainly candidates. So.
Thank you. All right, another question that we have, when do companies come to recruit graduates?
I can say we have a career fair coming up on March 24th, actually. It usually happens once every semester. There's a virtual fair. So even if you're an online student, you have access to all the services that on the ground students have. It's exactly the same. And that's some part of our accreditation. We must give you that, but it makes sense, right? You deserve that, even though you're online and you have a flexible, you have maybe a different situation going on than most of our traditional on-campus students. You absolutely are going to receive the same, which includes access to the Career Development Center if you need that. They're fabulous. They have a lot of connections, and I'll let Dr. Gaber and Dr. Lee talk about. School of Business also has some amazing connections.
Yeah, in fact, recruiting these days changes a lot, and it's changing almost every year. And we are fortunate in accounting. They are reaching to us, certainly some accounting firms and the alumni base that we created for many, many years. They're helping us, if they have a need, or even if they don't have a need within their organization, they can help our graduates to connect and put them in the right direction to seek the job that they certainly are looking for.
Fantastic. Thank you. Alrighty. So I think that in terms of questions, it seems like that is it. So I want to thank everyone so much for taking the time out of their night to come and ask us great questions and be a very attentive audience. I want to thank our accounting department faculty for coming and giving their great perspectives on the program. If you do have questions, definitely feel free to reach out to us. The admissions email that I put in the chat is probably the best first stop. If we need to send it to whether it's Amelia or Dr. Gaber, we definitely can. We definitely communicate with each other all the time. So pretty frequently we are in communication with one another. We'll definitely get you answers to the questions that you have. And again, thank you all and have a great night.
Thank you.